What would happen if you spent 100 days in the wilderness with no fast food, no drinking water, and had to rely entirely on your own skills to survive? The weak might give up, but if you're the last one standing, you'll win a $500,000 prize. How many days do you think you could survive? Now, let's take a look at the contestants joining this epic survival challenge. Barry, from Colorado. Barry is a professional self-defense instructor. Because born into a hunting family, should be taught skills from a young age. In addition, childhood often suffered from hunger and cold. I think this challenge is as designed for me alone, because of 2.5-year-old son at home. So he decided to save the money to buy milk. After landing, Barry was just about to find a place to go to the bathroom, then suddenly heard the sound of a helicopter. Scared him so much that he stopped. Turns out his hat fell off on the plane. I must say this program is really thoughtful. Stabilize the mind. Barry quickly chose a prime spot to set up camp. He found many squirrels on the tree. This is a rare delicacy, so he decided to use steel wire to make some traps. The principle is also very simple. When an animal passes by without paying attention, the rope will tighten and trap the prey. The more you struggle, the tighter you hold on, and eventually you lose your life. When he was about to set the second trap, he saw a squirrel, looking at him brazenly. How could Barry pass up this self-delivered dish? He immediately took the bow and shot an arrow through the clouds. Looks like a squirrel got shot in the head. Can't help but admit archery technique is too standard. The bow he used as a sniper rifle. Next is a contestant named Nikki. She is a survival guide and fisherman. Because since childhood lived a primitive life. Should have rich survival experience. Lived with friends for 1.5 years on the island. Desert island in prostate. During that time, they learned the truth of survival. Join this program to demonstrate your ability. If you win and get $500,000, she is going to buy a boat. Nuclear-powered fish. After landing, she did not rush to run but went to survey the surroundings. On the road also found knock cow mushroom. However, these mushrooms have been contaminated by rats. Lots of teeth marks and rat droppings. If eaten directly, it is very dangerous. She had to cut off the contaminated part. Can't be eliminated on the first day anyway. While seriously picking mushrooms, then suddenly heard the sound of a cat nearby. Nikki immediately stood up to check. Turns out it was a stray bobcat that was peeking in. Maybe it feels humans are not easy to deal with. So just look a few times and leave. Nikki also feels regretful. If the lynx is not a protected animal, she sure made it a delicious dinner. Because there are lynx here, that means there must have been a snow rabbit recently, and it's a dish they both like to eat. The third contestant is named Nathan. At home in Washington State, Nathan is a farmer without a farm. He started accumulating wild survival experience. At the age of 59, he is now not only proficient, many survival skills, but also a biologist. This time he joined the survival challenge, mainly to save $500,000. Build your own farm. Just landed. He found a squirrel in the tree, where Cole confidently shoots an arrow, named through the clouds. Unexpectedly missed the target and the arrow was stuck, always on the tree trunk. But he did not panic. Pick up the axe and destroy the squirrel's nest. I wonder what the squirrel was thinking at that time. Perhaps due to overconfidence in his ability to survive. This time the Cole place did not bring flint. I think that will help release more instincts. But after rubbing the stick against the wood 10 times, still no spark. He persisted for another half hour, and finally gave up. Unable to light a fire, he had to find a place to sleep first. Applying Pythagoras' theorem and the Earth's gravity, he tied a triangle frame, then prop a crossbar up against the frame. Then cover the rain cloth on top. A homemade ventilated hut on all 4 sides is complete. Night to aurora, produced by solar particles passing through the atmosphere. Extremely brilliant. But then outside the camp of the Cole place, suddenly there were footsteps. Scare the hell out of me. Not long after, before, the lens suddenly showed a large animal weighing several hundred pounds. If it were Roland, he would have definitely rushed into battle. And this guy turned off the camera and went asleep. Because of being scared in the night, woke up the next day in a place. Cole really want to light fire. He found more dry branches and started the same job again. But hours passed, and still no fire was started. Just then the screen suddenly turned off. When it reappeared, the fire was already burning. Where Cole just explained that the memory card was full, so the fire scene could not be recorded. Do you find that excuse credible? The fourth contestant's name was Tim. No need to introduce his background, because I'm about to be carried away. Since landing, the team is always on the lookout for traces of large prey. Today, went out and accidentally picked up a wild shovel. Made him happy as if he had found gold. But just in time to pick up the shovel and return to camp. Then suddenly stepped on a rock and slipped and fell right there. Team painfully screaming. After some thought, I know I'm over 50, although the spirit is very good, but the body can no longer bear it. Finally, the team took out the satellite phone. I withdraw. A yacht slowly approached. Program Medical Team 5. Quickly on scene. After a while of checking, found his leg had a slight cramp. Finally, with the help of medical team forced to withdraw from the competition. Time flies to Wednesday. Since the place where the coal was lit by the Lord's epiphany. Sleep until 12 noon every day. Yesterday, he took the opportunity to put a fishing net in the lake. Today, I plan to go check to see if there is any harvest. Look at the white lights sparkling under the water, where joy is indescribable. Carefully pull the net ashore. Speechless. Hold the wooden stick and super physical strength immediately pick it up and see. Oh my God, it must weigh at least 6 to 8 pounds. Unexpectedly, I had such a delicious dish at the beginning. Looking at a whole barrel full of fish meat. If nothing unexpected. Enough for him to live for 3 to 4 days. Very soon after that was the 5th day. The weather this year is a bit strange indeed. It's clearly not winter yet. And the snow was falling thick as goose feathers. Where the coal lies in a windy hut on all 4 sides, shivering. Don't want to be frozen into popsicles. He had to risk the wind and snow to collect 10 materials. Reinforce shelter. At the same time, things were not much better on the Paris side. Originally intended to bring bow and arrows to go out and get more protein. But just out less than 10 minutes. Fingers are frozen. Nikki's side out. Fishing was also caught by surprise by the blizzard. Caused to turn back. The contest has just begun. Encountered such harsh weather. Who can stand in the end? To the end to win $500,000. Let's wait and see. $500,000 wilderness survival competition. How cruel is it? Just started. There were candidates carried out of the scene. Donnie is the beauty representative of this season. The first thing is, every day after waking up is taking care of my bride. In home state of Colorado, Donnie is the principal of a school. Outdoor survival. Have extensive experience in the field of survival. He joined the show because he had heart disease. He calls this disease the creator. Instead of sitting at home waiting to die, I'd rather go out into the wild to test my limits. Must say Donnie's shelter. Build really impressive. To make the house warmer and more comfortable. He also picked some weeds around there to cover the gaps. After finishing the shelter, the next issue is food. He was preparing to make a throwing stick for hunting. Heard. This stick can knock down half a cow. After half an hour of careful polishing, a pretty decent looking hunting stick finished. As for the power, we still need to test it to know. Oh, what a perfect throw. The next contestant to appear is named Jordan. Look at the couplets pasted on the door and you will know right away. He is definitely Chinese son-in-law. Because growing up on a farm, since childhood, he has been used to a lonely life. He used to live with reindeer herders in Happy Village. For 2 years learned many survival skills. This time joined the contest. Mainly to win the $500,000 prize. To have more time with family. Just past 6 days of challenge. His shelter was slowly taking shape. He even made a speaker out of tree bark. Imitate doe call to attract elk. Today I planned to check the trap I set yesterday. But unfortunately nothing caught the trap. No other way. He had to go further to explore. When climbing a hill, he discovered that besides the small island he was on, there was lush green other places were burned down by forest fires. This with his skinny body is not. What a disaster. Because he doesn't have fat like the other contestants. Candidate today is a rescue dog trainer. Started hunting with bow and arrow from the age of 14. Very knowledgeable about the habits of most animals. And also good at making traps. He came to the survival competition. This is with the aim of helping families have a better life. In 6 days of competition, he spotted a seagull. Just stand on the same rock. That everyone knows. Seagulls can detect where there are fish underwater. Today I decided to go to the lake. Take back the bird's fishing spot. After chasing it away, he immediately dropped the bait into the water. Unexpected. Not long ago there was really a stupid fish. Caught the fish makes day happy beyond description. After a while screaming. The fish was also scared to death by him on the spot. But when planning to prepare fish for a big party, he found parasites in the fish's intestines. But because of hunger, no longer care feed the stupid bird. The remaining organs he intended to cook and eat. Next is candidate Meeson. She lived in the countryside since childhood. Hunting, fishing, and raising animals are everyday things. You see, this challenge is like designed just for me. Until the show disbands. Then definitely do not give up. But even as a professional angler, for the past 7 days, Meeson has not had a decent meal. The only result was a dilapidated oil drum. Looked at the iron box in front of him and thought for a long time. I thought you were going to cook me with it. But no, she planned to turn it into a buoy. Giant fishing. She cut some unused branches and fixed them into the box. Tie some hooks at the bottom. Then push the box to the river. Whether you catch fish or not depends on God. Cut to Nikki's scene. After the heavy snow 2 days ago, she sleeps until noon every day. With the challenges ahead, she has absolutely no plans. To avoid being advised by the director to leave the show. Today, she decided to make a mousetrap to prolong the time. But unfortunately accidentally injured Tay. Luckily the program team has an emergency medical kit. Nikki immediately took a bandage to stop the bleeding. Then 6 times at a time, she took out the phone again. Satellite of the program. Is Nikki going to give up? Scene changes to Donnie getting ready for the season. Arctic every day, he stocked firewood. Because there is almost nothing to eat these days. Today he decided to take his bow and arrow out hunting. However, with existing heart disease, he had not gone far when he sat down on the ground. Start listening for sounds to locate prey. Don't know how long have waited. Suddenly there was a noise nearby. Donnie immediately went in that direction. Draw the bow and shoot a shot into the bush. Looking smug, it seems like he hit the target. Mouse shot scene has become a burnt skewer. Donnie couldn't wait to take a big bite. Although crispy and tastes like chicken, but the amount of protein is 20 times more than beef. He was so hungry, he didn't even leave any bones. However, less than 2 hours after eating, something happened. While sawing wood, he suddenly felt a stomachache. Had to turn off the camera to solve the problem. After finishing the job, he realized the situation was quite serious. Maybe the grilled meat contains parasites. Causes stomach cramps and indigestion. If severe, can be life-threatening. Time flies to day 7. Nikki's wound also showed signs of recovery. Just change the bandage once a day. Even though I can only use one hand to cut trees now. But for survival, she still gritted her teeth and endured. Day 8 of the survival challenge. At this point, the internal energy in Donnie's body had reached the point of bursting out. He thought it would be better in the morning, but after about a vomiting, the illness did not improve. On the contrary, it became even more serious, accompanied by a dull pain in the chest. It might have developed into heart disease. After careful consideration, finally Donnie couldn't take it anymore. I tried. Sorry. I'm really sorry, guys. I have always tried. This is Donnie. I officially give up. When the show's small yacht slowly approached, Donnie became the second person to be taken away. Although unable to last until the end, he had already tried his best. In the eyes of his family, he is still the most wonderful person. Only 8 days have passed, yet out of 10 contestants, 2 were eliminated. I have to say, this season's survival show is really brutal. Next, what will be the strength of the 2 candidates who have not yet appeared? Let's wait and see. Survival contest, 10 people in the Arctic. How harsh it is. Luck smiled on some candidates, catching 4 brown rabbits in just 1 day. In fact, they even complained that the rabbit's head was spicy and had little protein. But unexpectedly, other candidates are still having to eat wild fruit just to hold out. The contest has entered its 9th day, 8 players left. Jordan, probably the richest candidate at the moment. Everyone thought this area that was burned down by the forest had nothing left. But after only 2 days, the traps brought in a big harvest, 4 fat white rabbits. Rabbits are cute, but must be cooked into spicy rabbit head to be delicious. Done. Don't forget to show off with a bit of Psy-style pride. I think it looks delicious, but it's not. Me too, but we still have to eat. Better than nothing. Woniya is the 9th contestant to appear. She just scraped around a birch tree. She must not have eaten for days, now in dire straits. I heard this plant contains a lot of amino acids and antioxidants no less than beef. In the past 9 days, she had built a fairly large shelter. Now she just needs to finish it. Everyone knows, in California, no one is idle. At 42, she is not only proficient in survival skills, but also very knowledgeable about wild foods. Large animal handling is also her forte. She came to the wilderness survival competition this time mainly to prove that women are also very strong. Due to the current in the north, with only a few hours of light each day, most of the time one must stay in the shelter. So she paid special attention to the ability to keep warm. She also peeled bark off tree trunks to prevent fire spread and made another door, natural anti-theft for the shelter. Finished. She clapped her hands to celebrate. The contest entered its 10th day. Another contestant woke up early in the morning because of his own handsomeness, saying that last night he dreamed of his fishing net catching a cow. A big black bull. I think this is an omen. I must go check the net immediately. Unexpectedly, as soon as he got to the lake, he saw fish in the net. He was overjoyed and quickly pulled the net ashore. He found that this female fish had a very big belly, definitely many eggs inside. With many years of fishing experience, he quickly took all the eggs out. Caviar is a premium food in the wild, but high-end foods usually do not need to be cooked. Just take a breath. Although a bit fishy and thick, the protein content is 50 times that of beef. To avoid wasting space, he also selected a few large grains to use as fishing bait. Must say, the candidates this time are really fragrant. After processing, the fish returned to his hiding place. But he soon felt dizzy and tired, just wanting to lie down and sleep. An hour and a half later, he sat outside vomiting. This is clearly a symptom of parasitic infection due to eating raw fish eggs. Living here, I just want to say 2 words to you. Drink lots of hot water. Remember, previous candidates also had to leave the game because of parasites. That scene is still fresh in my mind. Will this one also stop here? The contest entered its 11th day. Barry woke up not in a hurry to find protein, but stood seriously in front of the camera, teaching people how to fight wolves. But what is your plan? Looks like someone familiar, probably received the summoning of the deer last night. So today he decided to explore the northwest. Unexpectedly, no sooner had he left the door than he made a new discovery. He picked up 6 wild iron boxes, carrying 6 nuclear bombs on his person, so loud. The prey heard from afar and ran away. Barry had to return to camp. He intended to use these iron boxes as bait. Shiny, after half an hour of careful polishing, a crudely finished fish-shaped bait was done. He hurried to the lake to test it. Didn't expect this ugly bait to be so effective. In a moment, a foolish fish was hooked. But just as he was about to catch it, the fish escaped, taking away the bait he had worked so hard to make. Dragging the fishing line back, Barry's mood instantly exploded like popcorn. Next is the appearance of Brady, the last contestant this season. He was a coach at the Special Forces Academy in the U.S., a survival skills specialist, and an expert in wilderness escape. His survival skills had reached a state of perfection, even practiced to the point of almost going crazy. The purpose of participating this time was very clear: earn $500,000 to improve life. Anyway, with a family of 4 children, the pressure is not small. In the last 12 days, he lived mainly on wild fruits. The shelter had just been built. Today, he planned to go out and look for traces of prey. Unexpected harvest, surprise. The skeleton of a musk ox that had been shot dead was discovered. Even though the meat had been taken by someone else, this pile of bones was still very valuable. Especially the bisected skull of the musk ox. Hung in the shelter, it not only repels small animals, but also scares away wolves. Back at camp, Barry immediately set to work on his craft. Cut a piece of cloth, break a rib, and take out a roll of steel wire. After careful polishing, he made a shiny bait. How effective it is, we have to try it to know. Unexpectedly, just a moment later, a fish bit the hook. Barry calmly pulled it into shallow water. Catch it and see. Oh my God. Not less than 10 pounds. Must be 7 to 8 pounds. This fish was enough for him to eat for several days. I must say, the resources here are really great. Let's shift to where the coal is. After eating that bag of raw fish eggs, apart from vomiting, he never left the shelter. Everyone thought he would be the next to give up. But unexpectedly, after 2 days of recovery, he came back to life as if nothing had happened. The contest entered its 12th day. Jay was now wildly waving his arms around in search of protein. But every day, he could only rely on juicy fruits to live. Reluctantly, he aimed at his close neighbor. After some thought, he decided to make a Mojave-style drag trap. This trap not only catches small rodents, but also keeps their internal organs intact. He found a place where squirrels frequent, set the trap, and waited. Once an unlucky squirrel passes by, 2 shoe clips will immediately clamp down like a potato chip. However, when he checked the next day, even though the trap was triggered, it was blocked by a tree branch. While blaming himself for not doing it well enough, suddenly a squirrel automatically came to the wire. Without hesitation, he dealt with it immediately. The scene where the squirrel was put into the pot to cook. First the leg burnt on the outside, soft inside. Then a potato chip. I feel like I'm about to fly to heaven. Done, and don't forget to share with everyone. Not long after eating, maybe because he thought about the squirrel that had been his neighbor for 10 days, he suddenly felt guilty and remorseful, to the point of crying in front of the camera. Aren't these crocodile tears? In a flash, it's the 13th day. Recently, Meeson had been busy making all kinds of traps. Fishing equipment from the previous iron barrel, checked every day, to the point of wearing out the road. But still no sign of fish. This made her very depressed, because it had been 12 days since she had eaten meat. Having lost the fishing plan, she had to put all her hope in animal traps. Unexpectedly, the first trap today had a harvest. Look, Mom. The unexpected joy made her extremely excited. As soon as she got back to camp, she scooped up the octopus. Probably because she hadn't eaten protein for too long, Meeson was so hungry that she licked the pot 10 times. However, just when she was about to thank the gift from nature, her shelter suddenly caught fire. Is it possible that the newly flourishing Meeson is about to stop? Jordan is truly the strongest survival boss this season. While other candidates have to rely on wild vegetables and berries to live, he began to complain that rabbit meat was too little, fat not tasty. Because last night, a moose visited the camp. Today he decided to go out and try his luck. If lucky enough to catch one, then $500,000 is almost in hand. Not long after, sure enough, he found moose tracks near the camp, just a few dozen meters away. This made Jordan extremely happy. When he arrived back at the camp, he immediately prepared for the next meeting. He reused aluminum cans he picked up to make warning devices. Once deer pass and trip the warning wire at 10 locations, Jordan will know immediately, thereby having enough time to prepare his bow and arrow to take down the prey. Survival Challenge enters day 14. Currently, there are 8 contestants left on the field, because last night, when eating Meeson chicken accidentally burned down the shelter, she started the rebuilding work this morning. Luckily, it is still in the early stages of the challenge. so the fire was controlled in time. To avoid this happening again, she cut down some new trees to rebuild the shelter. Also used clay to fill the gaps. Help shelter not only warm, but also safer to cook with. Watching her actions made me cannot help but remember the oil barrel. She used to catch fish, but could not catch any. If used as a fireplace, wouldn't it smell better? On Nikki's side, a few days ago she was free, so she made some mouse traps. Go check this morning. First trap, nothing. The second trap that was triggered looks like it has a stock. When flipped, the stone slab was lifted and sure enough, there was a crushed mouse. Even though it has been flattened like a specimen. But Nikki was still very happy and grateful, because this is the first time she has eaten meat in half a year. Last month back to camp, Nikki quickly made grilled skewers. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. Served with sweet and sour fresh blueberries. Bite into a crispy piece that tastes like chicken. Contains 20 times more protein than beef. However, this little bit of food was clearly not enough to fill her up. Should eat, immediately bring bow out. Soon she discovered a stray squirrel. Hurry up and shoot. Must say archery. This is the standard mother cow flying on a plane. Fly away from the target. Unexpectedly, when I was about to go back to cook, the tip of my nose. The name was stabbed into his calf again. Seeing this scene, I can only give Nikki 2 words. Disaster hits camp. Nikki quickly took off his socks to check. Wound. I'll look at it for you, and it's really white. Luckily the program still had some first aid patches. Simple bandage is fine. Just walk a little offhanded. Today 16 of the challenge. Jay was so hungry that he started hanging around the neighbors' houses. Luckily the squirrel escaped. Thinking about the past half month, I've only eaten 1 fish. And a squirrel. Jay sat on the mountaintop in deep thought. To not think nonsense, he decided to upgrade the tent by lining the inside with pine needles and filling the outside with moss. After a busy time, warm, comfortable shelter completed. After the shelter comes the food problem. After saying that, he took his fishing rod to the lake. Oh my God, luring fish with your body is really awesome. After posture correction, tried again, and this time got to the platform. Just today, really unlucky. Standing by the lake, drinking the northwest wind. 2.5 hours without seeing a single fish. Helpless, he returned to the forest to gather food. Back to camp. Remember the hard time of the past half month. The wire seemed about to collapse. But think about life working to support family for 9 years. I still love freedom and the $500,000 reward more. Move to Jordan at. He is imitating the mating call of a moose. Hope can lure them to. Unexpectedly, the signal was just released a few minutes ago. The alarm device you set has sounded. Jordan heard and didn't even have time to put on his pants. Immediately take the bow and go out. He quickly spotted a deer in the pond. Young bow shot. But the distance is too far. The arrow flew through the deer's legs. Because when going out only bring a bow, he could only blink and watch the other person leave. But after this 7th defeat, believe next time, Jordan will be more prepared. Time flies, and it's been 17 days. Woniya since joining the contest. I still haven't eaten any meat yet. Besides some wild fruits picked. She could only drink water to survive. Today she decided to bring a bow. Go out to improve your meal. Unexpectedly lucky today, less than half an hour after going out. Found a grouse in a tree. Woniya fired a test shot without saying a word. Thought the chicken would fly away. But from the feathers and blood on the arrow, it was clearly injured and probably couldn't have run far. After a thorough search, she finally found it in a small forest. Thinking about finally having a decent meal, Woniya could not hold back the tears that flowed from the corners of her mouth. Brought excitement back to camp. Woniya immediately processes the raw materials. Then cook a pot of fragrant soup. Take a bite. Oh my God, the taste is so smooth and spreads everywhere. Look at her absorbed expression. Maybe amount. The protein inside is at least 50 times more than beef. Escaped the 19th day. Side rail from after hitting himself while fishing. He relied only on the northern riverbank to hold out. Today I plan to bring my bow and go hunting. But after a while searching, not even a hair of protein is seen. Reluctantly, he sat on the ground thinking about life. Think that with his ability, he can survive. Long-lasting, but after 3 days only eat a few meals. I see no hope anymore. After careful consideration, Jay finally pulled out the show's phone. This is Jay. I officially withdraw. So, Jay becomes the 3rd contestant eliminated this season. Survived until day 19 after 55 hungry meals. I can't help but say you're a tough guy. And with another contestant leaving the game, there are only 7 participants left. In the next round, Jordan will meet the moose again. Will he get his chance this time? Let's wait and see. Jordan is truly the strongest survivalist this season. While the other contestants were still starving for 3 days, he started live streaming eating right at the camp. Look at the crispy grilled rabbit meat on the outside. Soft inside. Every bite is a delight. After losing the moose a few days ago, now his mind is full of her cool image. He decided to use a new strategy to deal with it. To have enough time to prepare when the prey arrives. He built several fences around the warning device. Just Moose step into this area. Jordan will send him to his ancestors immediately. When the fence was finished, it was dark. The next morning, Jordan decided to go out to the bathroom, but just looked up and saw a moose. Plate weighs hundreds of kilos. Appear before the eyes. Seeing that, Jordan immediately pulled his bow and fired a shot. The tough moments are fascinating. Hit it. In high spirits, he followed the blood trail to find. Rapid detection of foam in blood. Shows to have hit the deer in the lung. After a careful search, Jordan finally found it in the woods. However, at this time the wounded deer was still very aggressive. Act hastily rush to finish off prey. Maybe counterattacked. So he could only sit down and pay attention. Track the opponent. While mouth continuously mumbled prayers. After 3 hours of waiting, the deer collapsed from blood loss. Jordan carefully approached to check it was dead. See this scene. I have to give Jordan a compliment. He's so good. To avoid predators from stealing the prey, he hurriedly processed the meat. Worked continuously. It was not until 10 p.m. that the meat was brought back to camp. The scene changes to Barry. People recently lived only on wild fruits. Almost completely destroyed his teeth. Today he decided to try his luck fishing again. Go to the lake shore and cast the line immediately with high hopes. However, today's luck is not good. He waved his arms so much that he almost created a ghost, but still could not catch a single feather. In the end, he had to return to camp empty-handed. But in the middle of the night, when Barry was fast asleep, suddenly he screamed because of a cramp in his calf. After calming down, Barry thinks it's due to malnutrition. And so it is. The next morning, when he woke up, he was full of energy again. See, the disease has left me. Barry decided to play a song to celebrate. And the expression on his face was full of passion. Outsiders may think he was possessed by a ghost. On day 22 of the challenge, the coal camp was covered with snow. Snow shelter due to surrounding gaps. Today, he plans to spend some time renovating his place. But as soon as I step outside, he found wolf tracks. Think of the huge amount of protein they contain. Not then. Decided to change plans and go follow the wolf's footprints. Hoped to be able to attack by surprise. But walked 8 kilometers without finding the shadow of the wolf. It started to snow heavily, causing the traces on the ground to be quickly covered. At this moment, he realized that he had gone too far from the camp. If not come back soon, I will be lost in the snowstorm and cannot survive. Luckily, thanks to my grandmother's guidance, the coal mine was safely returned to camp. The scene cuts back to Jordan near his camp. Pieces of meat were hung on the tree to avoid being stolen by wolves. He also made a food shelf, but hundreds of kilos of venison still have no place to put it. Final, he hung the remaining meat in the shelter. Smoked meat. Not only does it taste better, it also lasts longer. The next morning, Jordan start the morning with a meal in front of the camera. Grilled venison, crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. When stuffed in mouth, Jordan felt like he was about to fly. If the grizzly bear didn't come to steal the food, he will definitely win the championship of the season. This is on day 22 of the challenge. Barry made a mini washing machine, wild with iron pot. From early morning, must admit that using it for washing all really is a bit new. Just don't know then. Do you use that same pot to cook? I suspect this is a hunger contest. The chances of catching a large animal are almost zero. So his main goal is to set traps and fish. Unexpectedly, today has only just begun that he caught a big fish. Barry happily brought the fish back to camp. If nothing unexpected, for the next week, you won't have to worry about food. The scene changes to Nikki. Today is her 45th birthday. No ice cream and birthday cake in the Arctic wilderness. She can only use pine needles instead of candles. Light up and wish. After making a wish, she prepared to go out and check the traps. Unexpectedly, today's luck is so good. Her trap caught a cute white rabbit again. Nikki immediately brought the rabbit back to the farm and cannot contain emotions. Salivating with emotion. Unexpected. Her wish came true so quickly. Back to camp. She cooks dishes from blueberries and rabbit. Cook a wild delicacy. After a few minutes, Nikki couldn't wait to enjoy the delicious food, with a sweet and sour taste that made her almost lick the bottom of the pot clean. Then she enjoyed grilled rabbit feet. Feel the delicious taste, making her face full of satisfaction. This dish contains at least 5 times as much protein versus beef. The challenge enters its 24th day. There are 7 candidates left now. The temperature in the camp made it impossible for Woniya to sit still. She decided to go out and check the traps. Unexpectedly, she caught a wild rabbit. Without effort, after more than 20 days of eating only grass and roots, Woniya can finally eat meat. She immediately started cooking. She plans to make a warm scarf from rabbit fur, cut into long strips and wrap them around the tree, twisted into a towel entirely by hand. After a few minutes, she had a scarf. Time flies to day 26. Nikki is processing squirrel meat. No need to add spices, just throw it in the pot and cook. However, the fire in the fireplace was so strong that the roof caught fire. Nikki rushed to put out the fire, but the fire spread quickly. She was forced to risk pulling the burning part down. Luckily, after a while the fire was under control, but that night she will have to endure the cold. The next morning, Nikki set to work rebuilding the camp. Think about spending all day setting up camp. Her mood was irritable. Today, 27. The iron box that Meeson made before for fishing. Completely broken. She realized this method was not effective. Decided to try his luck on the mountainside. However, when she reached the top, she felt dizzy. It seems that malnutrition leads to hypoglycemia. After many days of not finding food, eating Meeson cannot hold back, tears fall down. The scene changes to Barry. This morning when I went out, I knocked on the wall. He accidentally picked up a wild flat pan. Sitting on a wooden chair. Make your own and enjoy a piece of crispy fried fish. Feels great. Maybe because the food is so delicious. Barry suddenly remembered the hamburger his wife made. See, Arctic winter is coming. Maybe food will become more difficult. Among the remaining candidates, I wonder who will last until the end. Since catching the 500-pound deer, Jordan shows off his meat-eating skills every day. Not only high protein, that even the ferocious manatee becomes a tool. You're sharp, undeniable, if not powerful, then cannot become the leader. Challenge enters day 28 early morning. Barry, start doing gymnastics at camp. Since having cramps while sleeping a few days ago, now he checks the traps 3 times a day. Unexpectedly, just arrived at the camp today, a white rabbit. Naively trapped. Barry was very happy, even though he only weighed 2.5 kilos. Back to camp. He started cooking in just a few minutes. Delicious food is ready. A protein-packed rabbit. When bitten, feels like exploding in the mouth. As delicious as a steak at a Michelin restaurant. And the protein in it is even 10 times more than beef. After eating, Barry prepared to lie down and have a good night's sleep. Suddenly, there was a noise outside the camp. With anxiety, Barry poked his head out to see. Then was a black bear wandering around outside the camp. Must have been attracted by the scent of rabbits. See, emergency. Barry took the flare and shot it into the sky. Then hugged the bough and sit down, ready to act at any time. He spent a night full of fear. The next morning, Barry, the more I think the angrier I get, and decided to teach the bear a lesson. Remember using rabbit skin and organs as bait. Then put ice in the steel jar as a warning device. Just bear come to eat. You will be able to stay in camp and be ready to attack. On the 29th day, Nathan, nothing to do. Should make yourself a mattress bed. Done. He plans to go out and check the fishing nets. Unexpected when coming to the lake. He found the water had a shimmering light. Pull up the net and see. Turns out it was a big fish weighing about 6 pounds. Finally can eat meat. Back to camp where charcoal cuts fish meat into long strips. Hang on a wooden stick and smoke. Then he chose the fattest piece. Place on stone and bake until golden brown on both sides. Take a bite of the firm, fragrant meat. The protein contained in it is at least 20 times more than beef. Scene change to Meeson. Because of not finding suitable food for long term. Every day, she can only survive on water. And continue to check the traps you have set. After a month, nothing. She caught a brown rabbit. Think of long days without food. She couldn't contain her emotions. She can finally eat her fill. Arctic winter weather is approaching. She is strengthening her shelter. To make the shelter warmer, she uses double skin and covers herself well. Even use moss, bark and twigs to fill in gaps. The walls are very carefully made. Proves she has a bit of an obsessive perfectionist disorder. After 30 days of participating in the challenge, Barry took out the family photo because today is my daughter's birthday. But because of participating in the competition, I can't be with my child. I feel so sad. He decided to go fishing to relax. But after more than 2 hours sitting there, he didn't catch any fish. The dull life gradually made him lose patience. After a night of careful thought, Barry decided to call the show and declare. Withdrew. Although he could not win the final prize, this trip taught him that family is more important than money. On the 36th day, while other candidates are still starving, 3 days, Jordan started complaining about the tough steak again. And not tasty. He invented a snack and played a game. Be a presenter. Then continue to check the food warehouse. However, when he got to the meat hiding place, he found many wolf footprints. This means wolf pack. Noticed his venison. That night a wolf came to his camp again. But due to poor night vision, I can't see anything. The next morning, he found that the large barrel of lard he had left behind was missing. That barrel of fat contains 40,000 calories, equivalent to 50 kilograms of beef. Cannot stand it anymore. Jordan decided to do something to get revenge. He set traps and warnings with metal barrels, ready to attack any wolf. After a sleepless night, he heard a noise. Check and confirm that the wolf has entered the trap. He immediately rushed forward with his axe and finished off the wolf. The next morning, Jordan began to prepare the wolf meat. To avoid being robbed by other animals, Jordan decided to make a higher food rack. Use a few large trees as available supports. Then saw them at the appropriate height and install a platform on top. So, he completed a safe food rack for convenience of getting meat. Jordan also made a ladder for himself. After that, he moved all the meat up there. Now even if the wolves come, they can't do anything. Scene change to Mason. This morning after cleaning, she was going to check the trap, but before arriving, she found many fox footprints on the ground. This is not good news, because foxes are animals that love to steal other people's game. Indeed, when it comes to the next trap, only a bunch of rabbit fur left. Mason is extremely angry. Think of her prey difficult. Just caught it, but it was taken away by the opponent. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Mason angrily took a deep breath. However, when I checked the trap the next day, she discovered that the fox had not only eaten the rabbit, and also took her trap. If not for the fact that foxes are a protected species, Mason will definitely catch and beat him up. Another person affected is Woniya. She hasn't eaten protein foods for a long time, so hopefully the trap will yield a harvest. However, when checking the trap, she saw the rope had been bitten off by the fox. Looking at the situation, the rabbit must have been released. Found that conventional traps were no longer effective. She decided to make a spring trap. This type of trap has a history of more than 1,000 years. Can lift prey high to avoid foxes eating it. After installing the trap, Woniya returns to the shelter to think about life. On the 40th day, after waking up, Barry just quickly did an 8 move. And today he plans to continue fishing in the lake. Don't mention your tin can bait yet. Just looking at the way he throws the fishing rod is enough. Know you are an experienced fisherman. Before he finished speaking, the fish had already taken the bait. Look at how cautious he is. This fish must weigh about 10 kilograms. However, the way he handled the next fish annoyed me. He tried to use a tree branch to pull the fish up. The results were definitely not as expected. Not only cannot pull fish up, but also lost a bait. Angry, he immediately returned to camp and quickly used branches and ropes. Make a big net. Looks pretty effective. After full preparation, he returned to the lake to continue fishing. Just a few minutes later, the fishing line was pulled taut again. This time, Barry carefully pulled the fish ashore, then quickly used the net to scoop up the fish. Look at this fish weighing about 10 kilos. Definitely in a week. You don't have to worry about food. On the 41st day, Nikki is enjoying his rabbit feast. The marrow in the bone is like spaghetti. Very soft and nutritious. Look at her eating deliciously. Can see the amount. The protein in it is definitely more than beef. After eating his fill, Nikki decided to go out and try his luck. Unexpectedly, luck came today. Just out the door, she found a cute squirrel in the tree. Nikki immediately shot an arrow at the squirrel. But unexpectedly, it is very healthy. When Nikki was about to shoot him in the head, the squirrel suddenly bit her hand. To prevent wound infection, she had to quickly return to the shelter to deal with it. Must say, to use for free. Band-Aid of the program crew. Nikki is really reckless. Even though she alone made the program effective. Enhanced. I'm still worried. Give me a little. Even Band-Aids run out at some point. To win the $500,000 prize, Jordan survived alone for more than 40 days in the wilderness. Arctic, although he hunted a deer nearly 500 pounds. But in 100 g of venison, there is less than 1 g of fat. Ate meat continuously for a month. His weight dropped 10 kilograms again. If food cannot be found quickly, high fat, and protein, don't talk about winning. Survival to the end is also a question mark. Because the program will check health periodically. If health indicators are found to be unsatisfactory, we'll be forced to leave the competition. So he aimed for the fish's thick layer of fat. He used homemade spinning lures, combined with a dedicated fishing rod. With posture, throwing standard bait is hard to not catch fish. Sure enough, just a moment later a big fish took the bait. Jordan immediately threw the fishing rod and pulled the fish closer to shore. Unexpectedly, the fish struggled and escaped. This made Jordan very angry. Not only lost the fish, but also lost the bait. Helpless, he had to return to camp empty-handed. Looks like we'll have to eat some venison today. Day 43. Barry is in shelter, then be made by his own handsome appearance. Wake up early in the morning, knowing that tomorrow will be the first health check. Barry was so excited. Because as usual, if you meet relatives during the test, then it means I have one. This season, immersed in fantasy, Barry is extremely excited. But having fun is one thing. Food supplements cannot be neglected. Based on squirrel footprints on the ground, he quickly found the target on the tree. Without saying much, Barry shot an arrow. Unexpectedly, the squirrel turned on the skill of running fast. Dodged all 3 of Barry's attacks by weaving like a water snake. If it were before, Barry would have definitely cursed loudly. But thinking about seeing his wife again tomorrow, can't bear to be angry. The next day, the medical team of 5 arrived. Barry was very cooperative in completing the tests. Until the show's cruise ship leaves, Barry just realized he wasn't the winner. Thinking about not seeing my wife for more than 40 days, Barry couldn't help but cry. Scene changes to Nikki. To gain some weight before the test, she quickly went to check the trap. Unexpectedly lucky today. There is a fat white rabbit in the trap. Back to camp. Nikki intends to learn the Thai way of the villagers. Use undigested grass and rabbit stomach to cook soup. This method not only helps to add a little vitamin, but can also make rabbit meat more delicious. Unexpectedly, this dish is not only fragrant, but also has a light floral scent. Vitamin content, which is even taller than half a cow. 45th day after health check. Woniya found her weight was not decreasing. However, since the defendant's trap was broken, she has not caught any prey yet. Today, she decided to check her traps before the fox appeared. Unexpectedly, her spring trap indeed avoided the fox effectively. Just set a trap a few days ago and caught a squirrel. Think about the upcoming abundant source of protein. Woniya immediately danced a waltz right at the camp. Then she started doing crafts. Use rabbit trap, rope combined with wild wool yarn. By the skillful hands of Woniya, made a perfect warm scarf, handmade when worn around the neck. She is the most handsome man in the North Wilderness. This poll time flies to day 47. Meeson sleep. Wake up at 12 noon to check traps. But because of long-term starvation, after walking a few steps, she felt dizzy. After waking up, came back and found no trap. It was hard to get to the lake to drink water. Unexpectedly slipped and almost fell into the mud. Back to Camp Meeson. Can't stand it anymore. Because it's been 14 days since I've had a bowel movement. Think about maybe leaving. Irreversible damage. She finally called the show crew. As the show's small boat slowly approached, Meeson immediately left the competition. Day 47. Nathan transformed into teacher Tony early in the morning. Cut yourself a cool haircut. Then he decided to go out and check the fishing net trap. Unexpectedly, the net was very effective today. Just pulled up, there was a white spotted pike caught in the trap. Looks like it weighs more than 5 kilograms. Back to camp. Then did not forget to show off the fish's sharp teeth. But when preparing to process fish for a big feast, then discovered in the fish's belly there was a surprise. Get an extra portion. Life is unpredictable. The scene moved to Jordan to add fat. He took out the treasure that had been hidden for a long time. Take the fat and deer tongue and cook slowly over low heat. Soon got a big pot of cooking oil. The remaining fat is used as a snack. With cooking oil, future cooking will be much more delicious. Solve the fat problem. Jordan also made himself a rabbit skin vest. With arrogant steps and homemade background music. Jordan, feel like I am the most handsome man in the wild Arctic. He turned to Nikki. Early in the morning, she had free time and gathered a pile of hay. Back to camp busy making. Soon made a stuffed rabbit from the rabbit family. Thinking about having it to sleep with tonight. Nikki immediately smiled happily. 49th day to avoid rheumatism at a young age. Woniya has been doing it since early on. I have a single bed off the ground. Then she decided to go out and get some more protein. Unexpectedly, just out of the door not long ago, saw a big white rabbit running past. Woniya immediately young bow shot an arrow. But because of prolonged hunger and fatigue, physical strength declined to such close distance, but still let the rabbit escape. Reluctantly, she had to rely on traps. Unexpectedly, today is really lucky. In the trap, caught a healthy fat white rabbit. When she was about to go home to cook a big feast, then found in the next trap. Also have one more. This made Woniya crazy with joy. When she got back to camp, she immediately dressed up as a bunny girl. Then started enjoying the delicious meal. Grilled rabbit meat, golden brown on the outside, soft and sweet on the inside, combined with sweet and sour wild berries. This meal is sometimes half the size of a cow. Time flies to day 52. Today is Nikki's checkup day. The medical team arrived at her camp early in the morning. Nikki confidently walked out to greet them, still holding a gift. She believes that my health is completely fine. However, after a series of tests, the doctor asked her to withdraw from the competition immediately. Otherwise, there will be a risk of multiple organ failure. Hearing this news, Nikki couldn't believe his ears. Refused to leave. Luckily, after half an hour of persuasion from the doctor, finally she had to accept the truth. Packing. Left the game after 52 days of perseverance. With Nikki's withdrawal, there are only 4 contestants left on the field now. Next, they not only have to facing the harsh cold of the Arctic, but also have to cope with extreme loneliness. Who will be the one standing to the end to win $500,000? Jordan is indeed the king of survival. Strongest this season. While other candidates are still eating weeds to survive. Then he said venison was too tough to eat. Others get a little protein and cry tears of joy. And he started playing cards in the Arctic, a wilderness survival program. But he turned it into a paid vacation, entering day 54 of the challenge. There are only 4 candidates left at the scene. Jordan routinely checks food reserves. But as soon as he climbed up, he discovered venison loss is significant, combined with fur and footprint around it. High probability that wolves caused it. Just a few days ago he trapped one. But now there is another one coming. To avoid losing food, Jordan set traps around the wooden stakes and hung more cans. Iron on it, If any rude person comes to steal it, you will get the signal immediately to counterattack. Solve the food problem. Jordan also used tree bark to make playing cards. Continue playing cards in the Arctic wilderness. Today I miss my family so much. That is also the biggest motivation for him to stay here. But then continued playing cards. Day 58, Barry wakes up. Feel like the sky is falling. Because the river he was on was frozen. All night. He has always relied on fishing for a living. Frozen lake hour. Which means finding food will be much harder. Reluctantly, he switched to eating lichen. Because eating raw can cause diarrhea. So he decided to cook it before eating. After 14 minutes of cooking, the hot lichen dish is ready. Barry eagerly took a big bite. Although it is like chewing air, it is very rich in starch. Is equivalent to charging half a cow. He ate until he was full, then went upstairs. Stop. On the Woniya side, as the Arctic lake's surface gradually freezes over. Every day, she spends more than 18 hours in the tent. It's rarely sunny today. She decided to go out and check the trap again. But on the way she found fox footprints. The rabbit next door was also destroyed. No need to think to know it was caused by fox. This is bad news. Because rabbits are her only source of food. If the defendant destroys everything, then the coming days will be the only way to starve. Think about how I haven't had a meal for a week. Woniya took out the remaining rabbit intestines. Clean and put in pot. A moment later the dish was ready. She just ate a piece and exclaimed, "Oh my God. It's crispy but the fishy smell is horrible." Day 63 to add more fat. Jordan. From early morning, we started making wooden shuttles to weave nets. Even though the strawberries were frozen like popsicles. But he was still very happy. Anyway, before the $500,000 reward. The present suffering is nothing, thanks to the wooden shuttle. The next job is weaving the net. Boring, but must do. After 2.5 hours. A completed venison bait net. To avoid falling into the icy water. He also carefully made a pair of anti-slip shoes. Then to the middle of the lake. Pick a nice spot and start chiseling the ice. Next is to drop the net into the water. Then use the axe to pull it up on the other end. To prevent the crater from freezing. Jordan also gathered some snow to cover it. Scene changes to Nathan. Before the lake froze, he managed to pull up the extra net. Anyway, it is the only tool he has to get food. If it freezes, it's over. To cope with the Arctic cold, Charcoal also put heated stones under the bed. The principle is no different from the heating bed in the Northeast. As long as the bed doesn't burn, it's very warm. When he finished, he put another layer of branches on the shelter. Consider the warming part done. Next is to solve the food problem. Still rely on the secondary net. But this time he improved the synchronization technique. Attach the net directly to a wild tree branch. Then tie tightly with rope. And that's it for a simple net. Everything is ready, just waiting for tomorrow morning to cast the net. But woke up the next morning, where Cole said last night dream about great-grandmother. Turns out it was the smell of grilled meat coming from the rock under the bed. When taking out the stone to check, he found out there was also spark. Oh my God, this guy is so reckless. If that place catches. If it was real, I would have gone to see my great-grandmother today. After putting out the fire, he immediately went to the lake to cast his net. Jordan fishing nets. Your way is much simpler. Just punch a rectangular hole in the tape. Then put the net in. Whether or not you catch fish is up to God. Escape has come to day 68. Due to long-term lack of nutrition, Jordan's hairline has begun to recede. Today is fishing day. He eagerly went to the lake. After a while of digging dog-style when I saw Jordan again, he had a big fish in his hand. Premium ingredients don't need cooking. Jordan immediately enjoyed the fish intestine sashimi on the spot. Finally, no more worries about lack of fat. Today 69. Barry, who has been fasting for days. Early morning, went to check traps. Unexpectedly, the first trap caught a small squirrel. Then another squirrel. Then the third one also got caught in a trap near home. Oh my God, I left the house less than half an hour ago. Got combo 3 squirrels right away. The scene cuts to Barry. His trap has been empty-handed all week. Now even drinking water is a problem. Because the lake's surface is frozen. Every time, he always has to go a long way to get water. So, Barry also specially prepared a pair of waterproof shoes. Get to the lake. Barry was so thirsty that his mouth was white with breath. Hug the iron pot and drink like crazy. When full, he started thinking about bread again. Meatloaf that his wife made at home. Thinking of this, he could not hold back any longer. I just want to go home to my wife and children. It's really too difficult. I'm so hungry and it hurts. Please give me back my fighting spirit. Give me the strength to carry on. Today is the day he goes for his second medical checkup. Barry was so hungry by now that his head was spinning. Don't even know what I'm going to do. After going through a series of tests and questioning Han from Medical Team 5, in the end they decided to let Barry withdraw immediately. Because in the last 70 days he lost 36 kilograms. It is important to know that once body fat is depleted, can lead to heart failure and death. When hearing this news, Barry was completely devastated. No matter what I say, I will not give up. until the program crew mentioned his family. Barry just accepted reality, even though he lost, but can persevere until this moment. With strong will, you are really awesome. And when Barry withdrew, there are only 3 candidates left at the scene. How good is a real survival master? While the other candidates are still tightening. Hunger belt. Jordan used a homemade spear to catch a fish again, heavier than 10 kilograms. Eat grilled fish with fragrant crispy skin. His life is really rich. To the 70th day of the contest, there are 3 contestants left on the field, since the shelf was visited by a wolf. A few days ago, first job Jordan do every morning is check the stock. Today I plan to cook fish soup, but when I got there I was stunned, because yesterday when storing fish, he forgot to leave the elevator. Seafood scattered everywhere, with wolf footprints all over the ground. Jordan's mood exploded like popcorn. After went to the shelf to check the damage, he discovered all the fat in the food is eaten away. Even the fish caught yesterday cannot escape. Jordan was so angry that he threw the fish on the ground. I wonder what the other contestants will think when they see this scene. Meanwhile, on the other side, the coal finally came to the time to pull the long-awaited fishing net. Because yesterday's ice hole froze again, he had to endure the cold below minus 20 degrees Celsius to re-drill the hole. But when he struggled to break the ice, pull up the net, then found out there was not a single fish inside. Hungry and cold plus disappointment makes him extremely irritable. In anger, tore the net into pieces. Looks like it's completely broken. When returning to camp, he must continue to tighten the belt to live. Hunger and suffering. In the past 70 days his weight has dropped 26%. Now the only tool to get food is broken. I don't know how long the coal mine can hold out. Move to Woniya. The 3 squirrels I caught a few days ago have all been eaten. Time to go out and find more protein. Because of long-term lack of fat, she felt her body wasting muscle. When food is increasingly scarce, she had to put all her hope on fishing. When she got to the lake, she randomly chose a spot and started chiseling the ice. Because Woniya was the only one not carrying an axe, she could only use a small folding tool to slowly chip away at the ice. Just do it from morning to night. But the ice still shows no signs of breaking. Realizing the calories burned were not worth it, she gave up. Today, 71. Where Nathan is so hungry that the chest is stuck to the back. Today I try to go fishing, but the results are not very promising. Struggled all day, but still couldn't find any fish. Begrudge. I have to take the last piece of smoked fish out to eat. Remember grandfather's advice not to give up. Before going to the cold place, think about the distant homeland. Maybe because I miss my great-grandmother so much. The fire in front suddenly flared up. Dry moss and oily turpentine. Cause the fire to flare up out of control. If he stayed, he would definitely meet his great-grandmother. Nathan hurriedly hugged the camera and ran out of the sea of fire. Look at the scene before you. Nathan knew he had lost his chance with $500,000. Begrudge. He had to take the emergency equipment of the RA program. Officially announced withdrawal. However, the program's helicopters only arrived during the day, so he had to endure a night in the Arctic at minus 30 degrees. Fortunately, in dire straits, he took out sleeping bag, set up a small tent by the fire, and then crawled in to sleep. Must say use the shelter to warm. Can be said to be the most burning treatment in history. Survival in the wild. After a rough night, the next day the program helicopter arrived, where Cole officially leaves the game, even though he didn't last until the end. But only with passive skills can he survive. So far so good. After the Cole place withdrew regretfully. There are only 2 players left now, since the wolves took away his fat reserves. Jordan devoted all his energy to fishing in the lake. To catch big fish quickly, Jordan also uses flashlights to attract fish. He lay on the lake for more than 2 hours, until cold hands and feet. There was no sign of any fish. Seeing this situation, I will definitely freeze. Begrudge. He returned to camp and continued eating venison to stave off hunger. Move to day 72. Woniya is hungry to the point of dizziness to fill her stomach. She thought of cooking rabbit tails and squirrel claws. All were put into the pot by her. She stewed a delicious pot of soup, although these do not have much nutrition, but it is still better than just drinking water. After breakfast, Woniya decided to go out and check the traps, but unexpectedly got punched. In the trap, not a single hair returned to the shelter. Woniya can't take it anymore, because her body has reached its limit. There was no other way but to give up. Early next morning, the program's small plane arrived on time. Before the lens, Woniya's tears kept falling. At this moment, she just wanted to find a warm place with food. Because today is her birthday. This is also considered a birthday gift. The best for yourself. Even though she can't stand to the end to win the championship. But as a female candidate, can rely on strong will to survive. So far so good. Believe that in the eyes of many people, she deserved to be the champion. The challenge enters day 77. At this time Jordan still did not know he had won. Same as usual, go to the lake to check the traps. unexpectedly caught a white spot fish. Biggest this season. Looks like it must weigh at least 10 kilograms. This made Jordan very happy, carrying on his back the precious sword he loved. He quickly returned to camp. Just arrived. Jordan immediately cooked a pot full of fish soup. Until the show's medical team arrives. He was still eating fish ravenously. Eat a little more anyway. When wait will have more chance to win. Staff group. The show's veterans, also quietly, conduct a health check for him, then asked if he could continue to persevere. Right on time. Jordan is trying to argue that he can live here until the program goes bankrupt. Then his wife appeared quietly behind. Oh my God, I know I won. Jordan is happy like an 80-year-old kid. He bragged to his wife about the deer, uneaten elk, and fish soup. Must say that as a Chinese son-in-law, Jordan's victory was well-deserved. Maybe only Roland of Season 7 can be compared with him. This concludes the Wilderness Survival Program. See you in the next episode.